think it's a good fight. Ryan has the height, the speed, the length, all that. But Tank has that IQ, that experience, that power. So a safe bet is Tank. But you cannot sleep on Ryan. He definitely can punch. He's shown that. But we don't know. We got to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one actually. This one's been, this is another one, the fight that's been talked about for a few years. So it's finally been made. I think it's been made at the right time. I think, Garcia's got the speed and the sharpness on that left hook, but I just think that overall boxing brains and the sort of his little cuteness in movements, and I just think Tank all round is a better fighter, more powerful, got the better boxing IQ, better boxing brain, more experience. So I am just aiming a little bit towards Tank. I think he's just all round a little bit better than Garcia, but Garcia's got that speed and the sharpness, so it's an interesting fight. But I'm going to go towards Tank. Yeah.
I think that's Tank's hardest fight to date. I think Ryan got the attributes of height and speed, and speed is power, and I think that's gonna be his hardest fight. But not only the attribute wise, when I hear Ryan Garcia talk, and I hear Ryan Garcia beg for the fight. He's begging, you know what I mean? And like, it's so spooky that it give me goosebumps because that's how I beg for Charlo. Like I beg for him. Like I plead and I beg for it. You know what I mean? So when somebody wants it that bad, it's like it's a certain kind of motivation he has in himself. You know what I mean? But all that motivation don't mean nothing when you going against Tank. You know what I mean? Tank is that motherfucker for a reason. You know what I mean? So I think this will be Tank's hardest fight up to date, and I think this might be his hardest fight in the division. Even though Shakur's in that division, I fancy Shakur being a hard fight for him. But I think the attributes that Shakur has, the height wise and stuff like that, and Shakur, shoulder rolling and not moving his feet as much, not as fast as Garcia. I just fancy the height and the speed attributes from Garcia to say that will be Tank's hardest fight. But I do fancy Tank in every fight, though.
I think Tank. I think Tank wins. Knockout.
Buzzing the fight's happening. It was up there with one of the fights we all wanted to see, if not the fight. I fancy Tank. I think it will be not cagey. I think there won't be much in it early on. I think they're both going to have moments. It's going to be fiery. It's going to be. I mean, the hand speed on both of them is ridiculous, razor sharp, and I think there's going to be very good action early on. But it'll be close, and then I just see Tank taking over. I think he's got that grit, that spite, that nastiness. I think. Well, look, another thing, we've never really seen Tank hurt. I don't think, thinking of the top of my head. I don't think, not that I can think of. We've seen obviously Garcia drops against Campbell, but I just feel. It's a brilliant fight. It really is. So I'm just thinking there. I do think it's going to really live up to the expectation. It can't be a boring fight. And I just think Tank, it's got that bit of nastiness in him, which could be the difference.
I don't know. I think Tank is always in a fight because he can really, really punch. A bit like Deontay Wilder in that sense. Like his power is comparable to Wilder's, although in a lower division. You know what I'm trying to say? Like in pound for pound, but he's a much better fighter than Deontay Wilder. Like he's very skilled, fast hands. I don't know. I think one of the issues with Tank is he's a bit lazy at times and in fights. And even when he knocked out Leo Santa Cruz, although he was winning the fight, there was a few rounds that Santa Cruz had won. And I just think that if Garcia is smart and uses his fast hands and has a high enough output, I think he could win the fight on points. I'm not sure. I don't really know about it. It's a fight that I'm glad has been finally made, and I'll certainly be watching it.
I think Tank. I think Garcia. What's his name? Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot his name then. Ryan Garcia, yeah, he's explosive fighter, looks the part. You know, he's like another Oscar De La Hoya, isn't he? He's more. Once Tank gets within range and up close, I think once he starts landing clubbing hard shots on the side of his head, that's where the fight's going to be won. You know, even when they're tussling inside in a clinch, Tank's short range distance punching is more explosive than Garcia's, but it's getting past that jab, that right hand, that left hook. It's a fantastic fight, but I think it's about who can take the most, and I think it's going to be Gervonta Davis. He'll take his licks, but he'll take them and keep coming, and I think that's what's going to win in the fight, and I think he'll win late on.
That fight, early round, you will see one Ryan Garcia very fast, saying and touching this and that, but Gervonta Davis is someone else. For me, I just talking like a boxing fan. I go with Davis.
I think Tank wins inside 4 or 5 rounds. I just think he hits too hard, especially for someone like Ryan Garcia. But we've seen him like lacklustre in the past until he finds the knockout. This one, I think he goes for it from the start. I think he's got a needle at Ryan Garcia, and I think we're going to get the best Tank.
Amazing. I actually love that fight. You know, people can say that Ryan Garcia's, he's playing it and all this sort of stuff. Like, he's a really good fighter. You know, when I watched him up close with Luke Campbell, who, hit him with an unbelievable shot, and Luke can really punch. I didn't realise how much Luke could bang. I always got told when people were coming out the GB, that Luke Campbell can punch a little bit, but then feeling it on the pads and getting him to rotate even more, like he can really whack. But Ryan Garcia was up at 2.5 seconds. We were like, yes, we got him. I turn around, he's on his feet. So we go, oh, for fuck's sake. And then, he was there. And the thing is he didn't shy away after that. He started going into Luke. And that shows that he's got plenty of that. And I think, Barrios had success. Santa Cruz had success. Ryan Garcia is a harder punch than both of them. Doesn't have the same output as Leo Santa Cruz, but and maybe not as slippery on his feet as Barrios, but I think he's a better fighter than both of them. And but he was losing rounds to both of them, losing a lot of rounds to them as well. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Tank Davies is going to blitz him and blast him out. He's a very good finisher if he does land. The size difference is huge. The weight's going to be an issue. All these things just are great. They're great for boxing because it's just talking points. Great for you guys to get discussions on it, and also you got a guy with over 9 million followers and a guy with 4.5 million followers boxing each other. 2 superstars in their own right. One's a pay-per-view star on Showtime, and the other one's doing great numbers when it comes to social media and also with the zone and stuff. So, thanks, Josh. It's exactly what us as fans want. This is a genuine super fight that we haven't seen in a while.
I've actually changed my mind on it. I've always felt that Tank wins that fight, but I'm actually starting to go towards Ryan Garcia. He's definitely the outsider in the fight, but I think he punches very hard, and it's just the people that I speak to in the game who know, I'm talking about fighters mainly, who know them quite well. Devin and Shakur and just people like that, and they seem to give Ryan Garcia a lot of chance in this fight, and they know him. They've known him. He's had 200 amateur fights. Can't wait. It's exactly the kind of fight that boxing needs. Fair play to both. Let's hope they both make it in the ring, and we can see a great fight on April 22nd. It's a massive night for DAZN. With Cordina Rakimov, great card in Cardiff, and then going on to that fight. So I'm just going to go a sneaky feeling for Ryan Garcia.
Man, it's a tough fight, man. I will say that Ryan Garcia, has been having a little bit of problems, mental problems, and he hasn't been very active. Tank has been very active, man. Starting with Leo Santa Cruz, Leo Santa Cruz was looking really good, and then he stopped him. Then he fought Rolly, and he looked spectacular. Now he fought this last guy and looked spectacular. He's been on the roll. He adjusts and to me, he has more experience. But let's see what Ryan Garcia brings. He's a great fighter too, and it's going to be an exciting fight. But at the end of the day, whoever comes more prepared that night is going to be victorious.
Yeah, this is the type of fight that the sport does need. Absolutely. Fans, you can fool people with a lot of things. You can't fool people that they're being entertained. If people watch a fight and they're not entertained, you can't fool them and say, wow, that was entertaining. They know what they're watching. People know, the fans know, and they want to see these type of fights. I'm a fan. I want to see these fights, Ryan. I really do. So, I think the sport does need that. We see the best fighting the best, or equal levels fighting, or not fighting, but competing in all the other sports. It needs to happen in boxing also. It is happening more and more, which is good, but that trend needs to continue. Yeah, it's a monster fight. Can't wait to watch it. Great, it'll be a different time zone, so, get to do the Cordina fight, and I get to watch the Garcia-Tank fight. It's going to be great.
It's a tough one. I think it's going to be a war. I see a little bit of, with him moving from coach to coach, Ryan Garcia, then away from the sport. He was sort of in a semi-retirement and having a break and coming back. Is he a little bit mentally fragile on the big stage? Is he holding it in? I know he's with Joe Goosen now, who's known since an amateur. I think it's a good move. But I think Tank Davis is just that a little bit more all-rounded for me. From long range distance, a little bit mentally stronger, and medium and close range inside fighting too. I think Tank's a little bit cuter for me, but I think Ryan, especially, has got a beautiful left hook. He really throws it really sharp. Is it difficult to get off against that type of southpaw? He is an upright. He's small. He's compact. We caught Luke Campbell with a long looping left hook to the body. With the small, compact Tank, we can turn us back into that shot and ride the shot a little bit better and come back. So I think he can nullify that left hook of Garcia's, and I just think Tank would be that little bit too cute. But I don't know the size difference really, because I know Ryan Garcia is a big boy too. That could play a factor. I know Tank, when he's fighting big guys himself, he struggled getting them out of there. Struggling imposing his own strength on them. Is he a bit lackadaisy in his diet, or is putting the hours in the gym? I don't know, but it makes it all interesting. But my money is on Tank Davis to come out victorious, definitely.
First of all, my hat goes out to both fighters for taking those type of fights at times like this. They're not caring about their O's, they're caring about what the fans want to see. And I applaud them for giving the fans what they want to see. I think it's a great fight for both fighters. Tank has a lot more tools than people think Tank has. Garcia is a much better fighter than people think Garcia is. Now, Garcia has been dropped by Taylor, who's not a bad fighter either. But we know if Taylor can drop him, then we think Tank can drop him. But how much punishment will Tank endure before he drops? So it's like, if he drops him. So the point is, like, who can get their game plan or the game plan in action first? If Garcia can get comfortable boxing Tank and keep Tank on the outside, Garcia can win the fight. If he gets comfortable and relaxes or runs low on energy late in the fight, because when Tank get behind, he knows how to become a dog and just come start walking you down. If he gets to that point without too much damage, then he may catch Garcia. So it's a you pick 'em fight. Garcia should jump out in the early lead, but Tank should come on in the later part of the fight. Will Garcia be able to hang on to that lead, or will Tank be able to catch him in the end? That's what makes it such an intriguing fight. That's what fight fans want to know. That's why we want to see fights like this. It's a beautiful fight for boxing, a beautiful fight for the fans, one that I'm applauding both guys for taking, and I can't wait because it's a you pick 'em. Either guy can win the fight, and I can't wait to see who wins.
Love that fight. I switch my mindset all the time about it because of, going back and forth. I'll probably finally know who I think is gonna win the day of. But I've been going with Tank lately. I think Tank late just makes the most sense in my head. But then my heart goes a lot with Ryan because he's so talented. He's got that one-punch power. So it's really going to be decided, I think, early on. If Ryan can get to Tank and hurt him and get some respect, I think we have a real fight on our hands. Otherwise, I think Tank late.
I think it's going to be a great fight. I know on paper and most of the boxing people think Tank should win because of the experience. Ryan has never fought not even for the world title at all, never fought a championship fight before. So Tank is supposed to win. He's the favorite. But like I'm telling you, I'm not sleeping on Ryan's speed and power. I've seen it. I've seen it in, you know, I know what he's done in sparring, you know. So, you know, it's a fight where, honestly, if you force me to pick, I think Ryan's going to catch him with that left hook and hurt him.
I think Davis beats him. I just think Garcia, people underestimate how fast Davis is and how smart an actual boxer Tank Davis is, because you think about his power. So I just think he has the edge, and I expect another. He might be losing, and he might have to get up himself, because Garcia punches and Garcia's fast. So he might be losing, but I think we see another spectacular knockout.